Hello, my name is Mia Trevino, and this is my project on the history of the Beatles. You might know the Beatles from many of their songs, including She Loves You, which is famous for its upbeat sound and engaging chorus. It's one of the most recognizable early Beatlemania era songs, which you might still hear today. But why were the Beatles so big? What was the story behind their fame? Well, the Beatles revolutionized not only music but modern society as well, starting with their early sound, their major cultural impact, and ending with their lasting influence on artists today. But the Beatles did not always start as the Beatles. In fact, John Lennon formed the Quarrymen in 1956 when he was 17 years old. Paul McCartney joined in 1957 after auditioning with the song 20 Flight Rock. George Harrison, McCartney's close friend, joined in 1958 after first being dismissed by Lennon for his young age. The name was changed to the Beatles in 1960 with the help of Lennon and former member Stuart Sutcliffe. A quote from Paul reads, "I just thought, well, he looks good, he's singing well, and he seems like a great lead singer to me," McCartney said of Lennon's performance to Record Collector magazine in 1995. Of course, he had his glasses off, so he looked really suave. "I remember John was good. He was really the only outstanding member. All the rest kind of slipped away." A quote from Gallucci of Ultimate Classic Rock, 2015. But one member that is not accredited to the success of the Beatles is known as the fifth Beatle, the manager of the Beatles, Brian Epstein. He was a record store manager in Liverpool before he became the Beatles manager in 1961. He secured an EMI contract for the band after numerous auditions with other contractors. Epstein crafted the classic Beatles look while matching suits and hair, as before the Beatles had a more rugged look as the Teddy Boy style popular at the time. Epstein and the band replaced Pete Best, their drummer of 2 years, for Ringo Starr after deciding he was not adequate enough. He is commonly accredited as lifting the Beatles into international fame by transforming their image, booking gigs, and securing contracts. After Starr joined the Beatles to work on their first album, Please Please Me, succeeding their first single, Love Me Do, the album remained as the top UK album for nearly 7 months, only being outranked by their next album. It is praised today as one of the first showcases of the Lennon-McCartney songwriting duo. The album was popular in the UK due to their live performances accompanied with a youthful, energized sound. After the success of Please Please Me, the Beatles were invited to the Ed Sullivan Show in New York City. The Ed Sullivan Show was a television program that showcased rising and present musical stars and acts from 1948 to 1971. It launched the Beatles from being unknown in America to a sensation, their record sales rising after the performance. During the performance, numerous young girls were seen screaming over them, which coined the term Beatlemania, which is about viewers who would scream, shout, and sob at the sight of the group, seeming to come over some type of mania. The Beatles were viewed as a beacon of hope, a light in the dark, especially since, just recently, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. So after the Beatles came, it seemed like an invitation to have hope again. Fan hysteria was common at their concerts, an act unseen since Elvis Presley. It opened the door for other British bands internationally, the Rolling Stones, The Who, The Animals, etc. The term "the British Invasion" was coined, a 1960s movement that saw not only musical changes, but cultural changes from Britain to the US and beyond. The Beatles and the Beatlemania is also accredited to setting up what a fangirl is, and how fans should perform at concerts. The Beatlemania era of the band's career set a new precedent for fan culture and is one of the few examples of a youth scene or subculture that was instigated and dominated by girls. The phenomenon of Beatlemania set the stage for the marketing of boy bands from the Monkees to One Direction, quoted by Barrett at Museum of Youth Culture 2022. But even with their worldwide success, the Beatles never got comfortable. They jumped from their earlier boyish sound a year earlier to their first experimental album, Rubber Soul, introducing new instruments and sounds. George Harrison introduced the sitar, an Indian instrument, opening the opportunity for Indian and other Asian influences in English music. This album also inspired the Beach Boys to create their revolutionary album, Pet Sounds. During this time, the Beatles also directly challenged religious America. in which the time America had record high rates of churchgoers and believers by becoming agnostic in 1964. In March 1966, Lennon was under fire for his more popular than Jesus comment, which is a reference to how the Beatles seemed to be in the minds of young folks rather than Jesus. While being met with heated criticism, it also opened the stage for people to question the church and religious authority. Harrison began taking an interest in Indian religion and culture, openly sharing his beliefs and teachings in his life and music. When the Beach Boys created Pet Sounds, it in turn inspired the Beatles to create one of the most innovative albums of the time, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. By 1967, the Beatles released that album as the first concept album, peak of their innovation. Multi-track recordings, tape loops, and speed changes were widely used in the album. The album wasn't limited to one genre. It used classical, Indian, circus music genres, and etc. Harrison was immensely integrated in Indian culture, inviting the band to India in 1968, which led to creation of the White Album. The big influence was Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. I just thought, oh dear me, this is the album of all time. What the hell are we going to do? Paul McCartney, quoted by Schultz from Entrepreneur of 2017. The end. Tensions grew during the White Album and Let It Be. Alan Klein was hired after Brian Epstein died, starting further disagreements. Abbey Road, their last album, had several moments not even participating in certain songs. While they stopped working together, they officially broke up in 1974. Even though the Beatles released music for only 7 years, they are marked as the most influential band today. Inspired countless artists from Oasis to Lady Gaga. They're known today as a symbol of youth, religion, and even a symbol of music as a whole. Thank you.